All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Let's see if it has BSS with its main Google search. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere, pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to, we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that, and also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock, way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully that other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets, either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief. And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page one slots as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page one on Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So it's the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily we have a solution, because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search or the highest intent search terms to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows into Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. So it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the other magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it, they're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go basically any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus to this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology, that's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot 1, we got organic slot 1. We got organic 2. We got organic. So slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. And this is through utilizing S-cubed methodology that we invented, that cannot get this from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of S-cubed methodology. Now we're going to check out, we're going to see if this boudoir photography business has BSS, kind of the basis for all this stuff. So let's see. So we're going to do a search, boudoir photography Las Vegas. All right. All right, so we got boudoir photographer Las Vegas, Nevada. So let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, there we go. All right, we got 1. 1 out of 10. Nice. All right. We got 1 out of 10, so we do have BSS, boudoir search sameness, because we got 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google search for high intent keywords here. And ideally, we would want to get to our GBC minimum of 3 out of 10, because then we can basically guarantee we're not a bit disappearing boudoir photographer. At minimum, we're treading water, or we could actually be growing. So we do want to get to 3 out of 10. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your areas, and you're saying you have BSS for at least one of those searches, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page 1 of Google search for at least one of those searches, and you've accepted that the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief, and Google actually will give us and wants to give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to put in the effort to acquire. And you've been looking for some like S-cubed methodology. S-cubed methodology is your one path forward that you can see that'll actually help you, get all these slots. And you like the initial benefits, more slots page 1 Google search, and you really like kicking your competing boudoir photographers off page 1 Google search, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. You like those. You also understand the market saturation. Yeah, more peeps become boudoir photographers over time. Okay, yeah, who doesn't know that? But you're thinking ahead and you're being like, man, AI is taking more and more peeps jobs. Last time that happened, COVID, and people lost their jobs, but people still had to earn money. So everyone's got a high-powered smartphone, ultra-powered camera. So tons of peeps became boudoir photographers then. So you're like, oh no, there's actually going to be more and more and more boudoir photographers entering the marketplace because they lost their jobs, still got to earn money. Way above and on top of the people that are simply naturally are upgrading their gear. So you're actually realizing, man, I actually got to fortify my position on page 1 and I have like so many page 1 links that Google is ranking me for on page 1 that Google actually runs out and starts putting my page 1 worthy links to force them to start filling out page 2, 3, and 4. And you need to fortify because you actually got to keep current competing boudoir photographers from ever ranking page 1 Google search, and as also any new boudoir photographers that come in losing their job due to AI, remember ranking page 1 Google search. So you got to fortify your position, like fortifying those levees down in Nolens, Louisiana. And so you're liking that future benefit, kind of fortification. You want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also understand execute and SQ methodology correctly every single day. We're actually throwing up basically creating invisible thematic keyword columns in our brand, kind of attached, plugged into our brand. And as a result, we're building up this like massive backend AI keyword mindshare with all these high intent boudoir keywords plugged into our brand. So every new day we execute this, we get the benefits of higher probability being recommended here, AI overview right at the top, most premium organic placement on Google search or any search, whoever's using Bing search out there, and also increasing the probability that AI apps recommend us in parallel. ChatGPT search, Claude search, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini, they all run on the same backend thematic keyword kind of mindshare system, where it's looking at repetition, relevance, age, authority with all these different keywords. And you know that AI search is, dude, it's getting larger and larger, more and more and more every single day. And so, like in those feature benefits, and actually last time I did AI search with wall photographers in the city, it was with ChatGPT, and dude, it returned me 3. When I did a manual search, Google search, manual Facebook search, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta get these slots any way possible. And you're seeing SQ methodology is the only thing that kind of enables the speedy creation of these invisible thematic keyword columns compared to any other solution out there. You also like the future benefit, building a large, well-known brand, approximately 8x faster than normal methods, or methods everyone else is using, because we're doing much higher volume across many more surfaces. And you also understand that since my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city, you also like that you have a chance to get all these benefits and prevent all your competitors from getting these benefits. So you can actually build up a massive backlog of page one worthy links ahead of your competitors and build up massive backend AI keyword mindshare, again, ahead of all your competitors. Basically make a big gap between all your current competitors and future competitors as AI takes their job, and kind of in preparation for that. And well, I mean, it's already happening already. And because of that, you decided to be first mover in your city, adopt this technology, be the first one so you can box everyone else out, because you understand the converse is if one of your competing boudoir photographers in your city signs on with me to use this first, then you're actually going to be, well, in order for you to compete, you're going to have to increase, or actually for first, you'd have to rederive SQ methodology for yourself. Well, actually derive it for the first time for yourself. And you would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly, because we're the ones that invented it. And as a result of that, you'd be, you then have to equal our execution every single day in order to, and that would happen after that is you would maintain the gap that we currently have ahead of you, me and your competitor. So to make any headway, you'd actually have to double or triple our execution every single day. And in order for you to do that, well, you still wouldn't be even 100% confident executing this strategy, because you wouldn't be 100% confident you've correctly derived SQ methodology in the first place. And you'd be looking at all this and be like, dude, who's got 80 hours per day to do all this stuff? And so you realize all that, and you decide, oh, screw that. You're simply going to be the first mover in your city, because this opportunity is too good to pass up. And so if that's you, shoot us a DM. Hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, so even if you want to work with us, you cannot. But when the hospital does open for new patient intake, shoot us a DM, and we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.